Welcome back, folks. This is the Chad Factor back at you again. Just got off a 10-hour shift, chilling, relaxing, just trying to live by. Drinking my apple cider vinegar with some water in it. Well, apple cider vinegar added to the water, but still pretty good. But this video is to do a review of Dear White People. And the main stars were Tessa Thompson and Tyler Williams, or Everybody Hates Chris. Now, I heard some things about the movie. I saw the trailer. So, I said, you know what? I heard some things about the movie. I kind of felt like it was going for that narrative that we all hear about, you know, whites always being privileged, that we're always victims and they have almost all the power. But, the movie was funny. It had satire, but this is what basically is the movie about, which is there is a house with white people and black people in it, but it's representative of the black students at the school. So what's going on is Miss Thompson, who is part of the Black Student Union, who is the head of the Black Student Union, happens to be very light skinned and mulatto, by the way, because a lot of our people represent us tend to not look like my skin color or darker, but hey. But basically, they're trying to fight to preserve the black history within the within that house and throughout the college. So what happens is that they're doing the class presidency. They're trying to see who is class president. And then there's a rich black dude. Keep forgetting his name, but he's a rich black dude. His father is a dean of students, who was a black man who was hired to try to promote more diversity. Your token. What people call token. That's what they call it. But what's going on is that he's trying to win president, so they can go. So she's trying to win president. Miss Thompson's trying to win president, so she can take over because she's already doing a radio show called Dear White People, which is basically saying, white people, this, you need to accept this. You need to let us have our perspective. You always need to let us have our perspective, and that you can have your own perspective, which is fine. I'm good for radio, black radio, and all that, but I just don't like begging and asking people for certain things. So in this move, so what happens is they go against each other, and it just so happens that the rich black kid in the movie, one of the rich ones, used to date the pro-black Miss Thompson. Now he's with a white woman who happens to be the president's daughter, but the dean wants her to date his son so he can go against her father. So that's the means of what's going on in that situation. So he wants her son to stay as president so he can continue to have power and do something with his life. But, on the low, he's just a regular college kid, smoke weed, do whatever. So there was a classroom presidency to see who was president. And they both had their word. He said that he wants to take care of the school, do what he needs to do. She said that, we got people kissing up the master. That's what she said, kissing up the master. You know how it goes. You know how people attack people with different opinions. Kissing up the master says that we want to maintain the black unity within this, the black culture within this room. We're tired of token people being in charge. So they all have a vote. And the girl who is the president, Miss Thompson, whose real name you'll find out in the movie, wins the presidential election. So what happens is she wins, she's in control. Now she's going back and forth with different people, trying to see what decisions she's made. And then Tyler Williams, who has a big afro like this, comes into the picture because he's trying to fit in, whether it's black people or white people, but he's actually secretly gay. So the star that used to be from Everybody Hates Chris is now secretly gay, trying to hide his um his ways. But I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Now, what happens is the girl believes she has this power. She sees some white boys in here. You know, they hear the black people arguing about what's oppressive, who's oppressing them. Even though Obama's president, talking about the Republican Party sort of oppressing black folks. Institutionalized racism. Um, Same thing, same game. White supremacy, white privilege. So he comes in, the white boy just goes on, chats his little BS, affirmative action. No, she apologizes to him for affirmative action, saying, I'm sorry that better qualified white folks got in, and says, I'm sorry. I don't care if they got in. This is what the white boy is saying. And he's saying that, he likes black culture. He likes, you have Obama, you have all these black celebrities under you. So he says all this, and then she gets a little angry. She says, "Why are you still here?" And he says, "Well, this is the only place I can get chicken and waffles." That's what he says. The white boy says. So they go into a little argument. She wants him out. He sits back down, slams his food on the table. All the white boys get out. They kick Tyler Williams out because he didn't necessarily live there. Okay. So what basically goes on from there is that they're trying to get the school board president, who again is who was in combating with the dean of students, to recognize their plight and recognize who they are. And then another girl, another black girl, who wears weave and from Chicago, and basically, says she's not attracted to black men, or, says all this stupid stuff. And she goes at Miss Thompson, and from there, with the girl, she's basically trying to be enemy and trying to, get along with the white folks, whatever. So that's her story. But the main theme of the story is basically talking about white privilege, basically begging people to treat us the same, and it just goes on because you see the two white kids with the gay black kid and the white girls touching his hair, picking his hair, and you see the costumes, which comes at the end of the movie, where you see they decided to do Dear White People. So they basically had the white people dress up like black people, 2 Chainz, had purple drink, had rappers, had baggy pants, had guns, stuff, stereotypical crap that people do. But before that, she's trying to be hard, she's trying to be pro-black, she's trying to do this, but she's struggling because she has a white father and a black mother. And as she's talking about the oppression and talking about this, she meets a white dude. They talk about it, they argue back and forth, then they go back to the room, then they kissy, hug, bang, 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 But had it been a black man banging a white girl, then he would get as much scrutiny in the movie, and he would probably they wouldn't let that happen in the movie. It just ain't gonna happen. So that's with her thing. Now the rich black kid, who's the son of the dean of students, basically tries to fit in with the white people, but the boy, who's the son of the president of the school, is jealous because he's dating a girl he used to like, and it just so happens to be a white girl, and he's mad at that because he knows that his father's dean of students trying to get back at his dad. Well, no, actually, I believe that's his sister. Correct me if I'm wrong if you see the movie, but I think that's his friend or his sister that the rich, privileged black man is dating. So what happens is he keeps denying her because the black dude keeps denying her, so he won't look like an ass to her because she doesn't want to be used to make um, her father jealous. So what happens is that so he can fit into the group of the rich privileged white dudes. He basically breaks up with the girl to try to fit in, so to make things better, and she just cries and whatnot, and that's basically it. She just cries, gets away. But as he's coming up, he's discovering how much BS this is because his father actually caught him smoking weed and doing dope and trying to hang out with the crew, and his father said get out of his sight, but he still invited him to the donors. So what happened with that is that as he's thinking about that, he didn't know that the white dudes were planning to have this party, which the president's son didn't know that the party would be all black stereotypical wear, black stereotypical this and that. Okay. So he didn't really know that. He didn't really have a sense of that to what was going to happen. So he told his dad, he was yelling and screaming, right? But the main character, which is Miss Thompson, is so distraught that when Tyler Williams' character with the big afro came in and basically was trying to get her to ride and get her to do this and that. And before he did that, he was trying to get a story in. He kept trying to get a story in over and over and over and over again, but it never seemed to happen. Never seemed to happen. But they were about to, but then the white dude who was with the white girl who were together, he kissed him in a newspaper room before they got ready to go to the party. So he kisses him then, says, "Oh, I like you," and all this other stuff. Then they meet each other near the rich dude when he was trying to get the rich dude to come with him. And then he goes with the girl, and the girl touches his hair as they're going to the party. But as he's going to this party and sees these stereotypical white images being put out there, right? He gets offended. He gets angry, leaves the party, and goes to the pro-black, ultra pro-black girl who's actually in emotional stress. She says she doesn't want to be the only black woman here. So what the moral of this is that although I don't like how they're trying to portray everything to be absolute, what I do like is when people came together and came to this party, and when everyone found out about this party, they literally crashed it. Some of them were saying, take off these masks, take off this, take off that. The gay dude, Tyler Williams' character, grabbed a recorder, smashed it down, ended up fighting the white dude who didn't know that people were going to do this party. He said he was trying to cancel it, but ended up fighting him anyway. And then although he kind of won, he kind of beat him up, the gay dude kissed him to make everyone think that he was, fruity or whatever. But I think it does have a good moral sense to say that anarchism and violence did help the movement, did help people react. So I'll give them that because the whole media was saying black people were rioting and all that. But my only pet peeve about this movie is that Um, why do you have? I don't mind people doing what they're doing, but why you seem to be pushing the gay agenda with keep having black males kissing and doing this? The second thing, why do you have a black female who's mulatto? Okay, she's mulatto, controlling the black student union, the most pro-black girl there, ends up being with a white man. But how come you couldn't do that with a black man? That's another thing. Why do we have to go on this constant thing about us struggling when other races have struggled? Why do we have to keep going on this presage of white privilege, white supremacy, racism, when every race has been in charge for hundreds of years and conquered and staked a claim? Why do we have to get people? Because I understand talking about crimes and talking about all that, but when I hear people talk about white privilege and white advancement, I mean, Asians do it in China. They're going to make sure their Asian counterparts are high and above the ladder. They're going to make sure that they are in protection and that nothing will happen to them and nobody will go over them. So my only pet peeve is that everybody is struggling, but they're struggling to survive, thrive, and go over the next person. But people try to make it seem like white privilege is the reason why black people are down and the reason why things are going down. Under white privilege, white supremacy, racism, Jim Crow, you have people like Marcus Garvey coming up. Madam C.J. Walker, who was a Garveyite. Booker T. Washington, who was trying to tell people to get off their bootstraps and try to work and do the action and not count on the white man. Marcus Garvey had a fleet of ships and had people working under him and was fighting off racists and Klan. Madam C.J. Walker was the first woman millionaire in history. Not a white woman. It was a black woman. Madam C.J. Walker was a millionaire, and she was a Garveyite who worked with Marcus Garvey, funded him, and went against anti-lynching laws. The first female banker who owned a bank was a black woman. In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, black businesses thrived under extreme Jim Crow and racism. You can look up the black buses, the black insurance companies, the black-owned buses, black-owned cabs, black insurance companies. You even had some black-owned construction companies. You had more of a unity, more of a family type then. And even under that, we were creating wealth in our community, donating to our own businesses and giving to our own businesses. Okay, that's what we were doing. A lot of us work for white people. Probably heck, 50% of us, 60% of us, 70% may have worked for white people. We were bringing that money right back to the community and not giving it right back to them because we couldn't and we didn't want to just eat in the restaurant. Just take the food from the back and go to the back. Okay, that's what people have to feel. And I don't care who gets mad at me for saying that. I don't care who gets mad at me. It's evidence. It's truth. You had black defense forces, Robert F. Williams, Deacons of Self-Defense, who defend themselves against the Klan. So it seems to me people are trying to guilt trip people out of trying to get out of their, if they are in privilege, if they are doing that, they're trying to say you feel guilty about your privilege, so you need to revoke it and you need to give me my reparations. You need to stop this, and that's never going to happen. Now, do I agree with reparations? Hey, I mean, sure, but I don't believe that you should get reparations out of pity You need to get reparations out of sorry, out of us being a community and us already having the power to get those reparations. Not getting out of pity, not having these white privilege conferences, not having these um, Tim Wise, Peggy McIntosh talking about white racism, white privilege, treat me good because of all this. No. You have to get it, you have to earn it, you have to fight for it. That's pretty much it with that. But, I mean, like I said, Dear White People is a comical movie. It is very funny, but I'm just getting tired of this whole presage that everything is based on white privilege. You can't do anything no matter what you do. You're black in America. I understand you have to work hard as a black man, black woman. But what I don't understand is I don't like using certain crutches to say you can't work hard or you can't get this. When our ancestors created more wealth and did better than us. That's my only pet peeve with that. Because how can they do it? How can they progress? How can they create wealth, have better families, have better, even honestly, I mean, if you read Black Rednecks, White Liberals, honestly, if you research that, we actually had better education as well. Because although we didn't have the same schools, the same functions, we did have good schools. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to get people to get twisted that we never had a good education, because what people seem to say is that integration was the best thing that ever happened, and that was our best thing ever, and that our only successes in this country is integrating into America or into white America, or being with white people is how we got ourselves. That's what my mind frame gets when I hear people say that integration was the best thing ever. You can say it's a blessing and a curse. You can say it's good, but please don't say that black people's success in this country didn't start till after integration. Because if you do, if you research, if you look at our successes, look at our family union, look at the business wise, just research. Black rednecks, white liberals, black construction companies, Garveyism, research. Message to the black man, just research what you need to do. But I thought this movie was very funny. Thought it was very funny, but what the media is not going to tell you is that these white people dressing up in blackface, trying to act black, trying to act hip, trying to say Tupac, Spike Lee, you know, they know about that, tend to be white liberals. They're not conservative, they're liberal. Think about it. You got white kids right now going through black neighborhoods acting like they can not get killed, not do anything. They're not conservative. They're not Fox News friendly. These are liberals doing this. They're hip. They think they can walk into your neighborhood, just like these folks in this movie thought they could just wear these costumes, nothing happens to them. You know, they wear these masks. They're into hip hop culture. They love purple drink. You know, they love it. You know, they love it. But the media and the movie and the people who made this movie are not going to say that. So do white people get advantages? Yes. But it doesn't mean that we can do better, or that we can have our own things. Because honestly, when Bill O'Reilly said that Asians had more privilege than whites and had more money, I'm going to put an article in the description box that actually proves that. And I will give you a video from the Young Turks that also said that Asians are getting into school, and that affirmative action was really for white women and white people to get in, because the Asians were killing them with the grades. Okay, so I'm gonna give you that. That Asians, on average, tend to be more wealthy than whites, and they're getting in at more higher rates. Still have advantages over other people to a point, but Asians seem to be on their game as of Asians, even well, actually Asians, but well, actually Hispanics have more economics than black folks. So basically, if we take our 1.1 trillion dollar consumer rate and actually do something with it, we can actually get stuff done. But I did this video. I still give Dear White People a 7 out of 10 just because it's funny. But you can't keep pushing an agenda. You can't keep pushing a narrative every single time that you want to. That's the only thing I really have to say. And you have to fight for what you want and fight for what you believe in, or else if you're always considered a victim of white supremacy, white privilege, and not fight back or do anything about it, then no one's going to respect you. That's really it. I give Dear White People a 7 out of 10. Please give me your thoughts on this video, and I hope you have a good night. This is the Chad Factor.